Lately in my life, I've been in like sort of a weird space where it's like I'm doing all the right things, but not everything is like clicking the way I expected it to, and not everything is like making sense to me. And of course, this doesn't mean like that things are going wrong, but I am like waiting on some breakthroughs, at least at the time of filming, which of course it can change at any time, as I'm always saying. And so my natural instinct, as like it has been for years now, is always like to push harder.
Never give up. Never back down. Come on, pick it up.
To figure it out more and like control the situation. But recently, I've been feeling like life has been asking me to do the opposite. To trust more instead of like to force more. And that of course can be really uncomfortable for someone like me. But it's also been teaching me a lot that like I think a lot of us struggle with too. So in today's episode, I want to talk more about like some of my self-talk as well as like strategies that like I've been employing to help me like trust the outcome more, trust the process, trust my divine timing, versus the old way, which is like to push more, grind harder, and like grind my way towards that success always. Of course it has its place, but like the truth is, you can't grind your way out of every situation. Sometimes God is just like asking you to have more patience and trust more.
I expect you to trust me.
So if any of you out there can relate to this message, join me for today's video. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now.
Give me a
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, it must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links to purchase it on my website, which is jaredbryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me, every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton, so any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very greatly appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this episode now. So to start things off, I think all of us have this inherent desire to gain more control over our lives, because of course, lack of control can be very scary. And as we know, people are going to turn to all different things in order to gain the sense of control. And so the thing is, and the first point I want to dive into, maybe it's just me, but the people who are all about only religion, and hey, if that works for you, great. But some people take it to mean now I have all the answers. And once again, this is just me, but I don't think God wants you to have all the answers. I don't think He wants you to have everything all figured out. That's at least what I'm realizing in my life. I think part of the experience of life and part of life's journey is about actually experiencing life. Reacting to different situations, learning from other people, and learning more about yourself as you go.
You are the teacher to my pupil?
So if you think you've all the answers and you've everything all figured out, well, what happens when something comes along that shakes up your whole world and doesn't make sense to you? It's for me, for instance, as an 18-year-old, I thought I had this whole plan, and this was the direction that my life was meant to go. But then I of course get hit with a whole life-threatening illness, and this is of course a drastic situation. But for me, I was forced to figure out things as I went. This of course wasn't part of any playbook or any rulebook. Now of course I always had my principles to fall back on. But first I just had to figure out how to stay alive. But then I couldn't just simply stick with the same plans I thought I had coming into college. Because life, God, and the universe had some other plans. And I'm someone who doesn't always like change. Especially as a highly sensitive person, I've always had trouble with change. However, change isn't always a bad thing either. As humans, we're always constantly evolving, so you don't want to deny this. You don't want too much change too fast, of course. But being able to adapt whenever life hits is a skill in and of itself. Now, one big problem with thinking you have or needing control over every situation is that it can turn into shame or thinking you're doing something wrong if things don't go how you expected them to. Once again, as a highly sensitive person who can be very hard on myself at times, and as someone who likes to control my life and control as much as I can, I've also learned that sometimes things just don't go my way, and it's not my fault or anyone's fault, it's just life being life.
Now we're really living like Larry.
It's like if I had a bad game or did bad in a test that like I studied for and like trained for, etc. This shouldn't then lead to me being like, oh, I suck now. So maybe it's about realizing that like some of this stuff is just like part of life. It's not a reflection on you or your effort. Just like how if that girl rejected you, it doesn't always mean like you did something wrong. Maybe it does some of the time, but like most of the time I would say it doesn't. If a friend or someone else like mistreated you, most of the time like it's not because you did something wrong, it's just like a reflection on them and not you. It's whatever like they're going through in that moment. And there's nothing like you could have done differently to change that. If someone decides like, to cut you off in traffic today, you can't like pick up their car and manually move it off the road. So being someone like who does try to have control of my life much of the time, and tries to give like full effort in everything I do as a result, this can be tough to accept. Like I don't have control over every situation. I can do my best, I can give it my all, put a full effort into everything I do. But if it doesn't go right, shaming myself and guilting myself isn't going to make the situation better and like provide a better outcome.
What can I do anything right? Ah!
And once again, not trying to pick on religion because of course it can be great, but some people, as we know, are going to use it like to shame other people. Where if something doesn't go right for you in your life, it's like God is looking down upon you and like God is punishing you and that's why you did something wrong. Well now, how is that going to make you feel? Pretty worthless, I would say. Is that going to make the situation better? No. So this is where having that next play athlete's mindset and like mentality comes in key. Last play wasn't good, I'm going to move on to the next one. I may not be able to change the past, but like focusing on that last play that didn't go well isn't going to shape my future any better. Now branching off of this idea of religion and like thinking that we have or need to have all the answers at all times, some of us out there may think like ChatGPT or social media has all the answers. And these things, like religion, can be great once again. I hate making any blanket statements and like I can't stand people who do that. Because of course I love ChatGPT and like I think it's an incredible tool.
We have technology.
But initially when I first found it, it was like anytime I encountered a difficult situation, I went to it to try to see like if I could make sense of it all. And sometimes it does have the answers and like can be amazing. But I also discovered like that sometimes it gives an answer that doesn't work for me and like doesn't sit right by me. And so what I've learned is that like that's okay too, because some things are just like better left for you to figure them out for yourself as life goes on. With social media, there's all these quote unquote experts out there for everything. Whether it's like with dating or health or whatever the topic may be. And so some of the advice may be great, but this is why like it's so important to not blindly outsource your trust to anyone, because there is no one size fits all. We're all living out our own human experiences with unique situations, so even if like this advice works for 500,000 people, doesn't mean like it's gonna work for you. Just because all these people try this one thing and like it worked great for them, doesn't automatically mean it's gonna work for you. So you can of course use the experiences of others to guide you and like hear their stories and hear them out, but don't forget to live your own life and like find what works best for you too. Moving right along, another lesson like that I've learned is that being someone who's willing to do like however much work and effort it takes to achieve my goals, I've also realized that more effort isn't always the answer. When something doesn't go right for me, my first response and like first instinct is always, maybe I just have to try harder and grind harder. But sometimes it's just about trusting more. Giving some of that control or need for control up to God and the universe and like trusting my divine timing. As hard as it is for someone like me to accept this, you can't always grind your way to a better result, so sometimes you just need more patience. For example, the reason my content hasn't blown up yet at the time of filming, which can change at any moment, is not due to a lack of effort. I believe it just like needs more time to reach the masses. The reason that like I have yet to sell 1 million copies of my book if I threw it is not because like it's not an amazing book. It just needs more time for people to find my story. Same thing goes as an athlete. Maybe you're doing all the right things, training properly, training hard, and yet you still may have like some bad games. This does not mean though, practice 5 more hours every single day. Trust me, I've tried it. It doesn't always work like that. But so often the answer is either less effort and more intention, or it's just like the same effort but give it more time. How many people out there give up on something because they burnt out too fast? How many people are going to try to make 100 posts in like 10 days and then be like, it's not working, not realizing that like most of the people who made it sometimes like had to go through thousands of posts before like one started to click, and then the rest followed. If you're trying to get a girl to like you, more effort isn't magically going to make it happen.
This is exactly why falling in love is so goddamn hard.
And if you try too hard, you may actually make her feel uneasy, causing the opposite effect that you hoped for. And sometimes it's just like not meant for you. Maybe the person isn't meant for you. Maybe you're actually going to achieve something far greater than what you currently have in mind right now. So this is like super hard one for me to accept, but yet it is essential to learn, which is that more effort and more grind doesn't always work. There are situations where of course it does, but like, it's not always the magic potion and like magic elixir to solving all your issues. Now I also believe like there's a reason in everything and like reason for everything. And there's often like so much more meaning to be discovered and like unearthed from all of our tough situations. But as like what I said earlier, as far as like what prompted this video, I've recently been feeling like some things in my life haven't been making sense to me.
It just don't add up!
I do believe like it's all going to work out for me in the end. But it doesn't mean like we have control over how we experience the lessons, how we get there, when we get there, or why all this is happening. It's like in the moment you're just like, why haven't I made it yet? Why did this person mistreat me? Why isn't this person like me? And why aren't things clicking for me despite all the effort I'm putting in? But this brings me to one of my favorite stories coming from one of my favorite artists, Andy Grammer, who I talk about all the time. And I'm pretty sure like I've actually shared a clip of him talking about this story in the past, but like let me refresh your memory. So Andy had just like finished up another day of playing his music as a street performer, and yet he got no tips for that day. So he was feeling pretty discouraged at this time. And he felt like, I'm doing my part, so God in the universe, I'm going to need some help here. And so then this time that he was going through inspired his first big hit, which was actually a song about his struggles during this time. And it's of course a song that like most of us know, Keep Your Head Up. So once again, this wasn't about working harder or doing more, but it was about following the path, continuing to follow his calling, and eventually his struggles were used to inspire the masses. I mean, honestly, I love the lyrics from that song. He goes, I've been waiting on a sunset, bills on my mindset, can't deny they're getting higher than my income's breadcrumbs, I've been trying to survive. The glow that the sun gets right around sunset helps me realize that this is just a journey, drop your worries, you are gonna turn out fine. Oh, you turn out fine. And then of course, but you gotta keep your head up. Oh. And this became one of mine, and I'm sure like many of you out there, this is like a classic anthem for anyone who's going through a rough time, or that phase in your life where like you're wondering, is everything gonna work out? But, like Andy Grammer reminds you, like it's all gonna happen. All you have to do is just like keep your head up. Now to restore some faith for all my control freaks out there like myself, and give some of the power back to you guys who love having control, let me remind you that like you do have control over a lot of things in your life. You may not be able to control everything, as like this whole video has been about, but don't just throw it all away. It's like the person who grows up poor and like decides like they can't do anything about it, so might as well get drunk and do drugs and just like give up on life. No, what I'm saying here is to max out the controllables and let go of the rest. Let God and the universe take care of the rest of all the things like you can control. So you can control the foods that go into your body, most of those inputs. You can meditate and get in touch with God and like your inner spirituality. You can move your body and exercise. You can be mindful. You can read books. You can choose to surround yourself with the most positive people out there. And of course, there's a million other things that I could go into. So make sure like you do all those things, because taking advantage of the controllables is going to give you the best chance at living an amazing, fulfilling life. But even if you do all those things, be ready for the unexpected. And know how to return back to center. That's the key. This is why meditation and making your life a living meditation is so key for me, because like just as how during a meditation practice, an intrusive thought sidetracks you and then like you have to get back to center, or get back to focusing on your breath? Well, the same thing goes for anything in your life. It's all about like how whenever something beyond your control hits and throws you off balance, how do you get back to center, get back to your positive habits, and like get back to focusing on all the things you do have control over? Now, to finish things off for this episode, I want to leave you guys with like one more tool for your toolbox for when everything starts to feel out of control, or when like all these doubts start creeping up and like you wonder, are things actually ever going to work out for you? So first up, as I brought up in the last segment, we have meditation. I'm very big on this. I brought it up numerous times in the past. I do have like a daily meditation practice, but yet back like when I first started it out, I thought it was like a way to control my thoughts more. I thought, oh, I'm going to observe every single thought and only keep the good ones and like get rid of all the bad ones. I quickly learned though, this is impossible. We have thousands upon thousands of thoughts every single day, so you can't sit there and choose every single one as they come in. However, the key to meditation, as so many of us know, is being and not doing more. It's about letting things go and giving up more of that control to the divine. And as I spoke about earlier, it's not about preventing all bad things from happening to you and like thinking you have control over every situation, but it's about controlling the response, keeping the calm, and returning back to your breath and like returning back to your center. And furthermore, I even said this like out loud to myself a few days ago, which is that like if someone like me came up to me asking what to do when they were feeling like this, I'd probably tell them like one of my favorite quotes coming from Steve Jobs, which is, you can't connect the dots moving forwards, you can only connect them looking backwards. So I would tell myself to keep living my life, going with the flow, trying my best, and like it's all going to work out, and trusting that. As confusing as it may be right now, one day it's all going to make sense why things had to happen this way and like why they're happening the way they are right now. Anyways, that's the video. I hope it helped you guys out. If you liked what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Peace.